You ever taken a ride on the back of a horse with no name that looked at you and said, hey, your ma ain't your ma. Your ma's actually your pa. And your pa, well, I'm your pa, boy.
I'm your daddy now.
And then you rode into town. You saw there's a bank had your face on it, not because you'd robbed it, because it was your bank. Do you know that feeling? That's what it's like driving the new Ford F-150.
Like a rock. Like a motherfucking rock.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of This Is My Bourbon Podcast. I'm your host, Perry. With me this week, remotely, but still with me, is my co-host, Eric the Whiskey Mutant Smith.
Apparently, there are some people who love the 13-year Dickel bottled and bond. This just in.
Gosh.
So as we're recording, I've currently lost 12 followers on Instagram.
Whoa!
After posting a funny little reel of
That is
Dickel bottled and
way
bond.
too many for what you posted.
My Daily Bourbon called me out. Somebody else here. I don't know this person. This is in response to a Dickel bottled and bond reel. This is such a great bottle, and I've hated so many products from Dickel. I'll take this all day, every day, over the 5 to 6 year MGP crap everyone is peddling now. Really?
Hashtag mutant too woke.
Really?
Doesn't that feel like what that is, though, is that you're being called out for wokeness?
I mean, yeah, for real. Listen, that bottle and bond is trash. Okay, it is.
It's no good. It's good. It's not a good bottle.
It's a fun little reel. Chill your britches.
People took that way
britches.
too seriously. People took that way too seriously.
That's the 5-second reel on there. So check it out. Whiskey Mutant on Instagram.
Well, hey, if you are here because of Eric's stupid comment that he made that everybody else got really fed up with, thank you so much for being here. If you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. And if you haven't yet, leave us a 5-star rating and review on your podcast app of choice, but also on the Apple iTunes podcast app. That's a great way for us to shoot up in the Apple algorithm thingy, whatever it is. But here's the thing.
The algorithm.
Here's the thing. Eric, do you hear that? It's real nice and warm. Ooh, that little fire's crackling right there next to us.
It's a little
too
too warm.
Ooh, too warm. Oh, too hot.
Can you turn that down just a...
I'll turn it down. I'm gonna drop some water on it. Just ooh, yeah, okay.
Can you proof that down? Can you proof that fire down a little bit?
I'm going to proof the fire down a little bit for you. But so we are, because we are remote, we figured we'd put out a little video version of this episode as well. So I'm going to be up instead of until 2 a.m. this morning editing the podcast. It's going to be 4 or 5 a.m. So that's the kind of thing that I have decided to inject into my life to make me feel slightly less sane than I have. But
Perry does it for the people.
I do it for you guys because I love you. I think that goes without saying. But also, I you know what's weird is I made eye contact with the camera after I said that. And oh wait, are you doing
the heart thing?
You gotta get closer. Wait,
I'm in the fire. Hurry! I'm burning up.
Hot.
Okay, this.
All right, we got an abnormal heart that we've got to look at.
Yeah. Right side of the heart's usually larger anyway.
It also hangs a little lower. Anyway, but check us out on social media at My Bourbon Pod and at Whiskey Mutant. The rating and review thing is super, super important. And also, you can check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/My Bourbon Podcast for as little as $1 a month. For as little as $5 a month, you get bonus content. And also, up top, we got to talk about the live show because we are sold out of our all-in. I have to put some kind of weird audio filter on that for you now But I mean, never mind. Anyway, no, we're sold out of our all in package. That's what I'm trying to say. But we still have plenty of tickets still available for our live show, which includes access to us hanging out with Jason from the Mash and Drum, Chad from My Daily Bourbon, David and Kira from the whiskeychannel.com, formerly known as the Shelf Turds. But it is going to be a really, really good time, and you are not going to want to miss it. Those tickets are as low as $25.
You get a sample of our pick.
You get a sample of our pick. You get some food as well included with
free drink
the
ticket.
event. A free drink ticket. We're going to be working on some cocktails as well to make for that event. But
If nothing else, you can just get a bourbon and Coke and call it Mutant Madness.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Do a little vanilla Coke with it instead.
Yeah, because that would be different. Because it would be, and there's a dun 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 dun.
Dun 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 dun. Yeah, you get. I pick up what you're putting down.
Yeah. Okay.
There was something else I was going to say. I can't remember what it was. This editing's going to be a little bit looser this episode because I got to do a video with it as well. I don't know. I'm sure it'll come back around to me at some point. But in the meantime, we normally start out episodes with Sips and Snacks or Flying Blind. And this week, Eric has actually doubled up for me.
Ooh, yeah,
on
baby.
Sips and Snacks and Flying Blind. So I know what the snack is. That's the only thing.
Snack is.
It's Coffee Crisp, which was given to us by Andrew West.
Yes, at Whiskey Weekend.
Our residential Canadian.
Canada. He's from
we've
Canada.
got other Canadian friends who listen to the
we
show,
got Morg,
but he's
Whiskey
just our
Morg.
Yeah.
He's our morgue. He's our
what?
Mortician.
That's not what I heard. But okay.
What'd you say?
I heard there was no M or T sound on there at Force.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, well, that's just what I heard. We're over Zoom, so I mean, things are going to change, but
I've never had one of these. So I based this just on what I thought it was going to taste like.
So you didn't even have like a taste of it before?
No, I opened
just
it up, gave you your half, came home, got everything set up, and I based this whole pairing on just what I thought was going to work.
All right. Well,
so
it smells amazing. It's got this real like mocha thing going on with it that I just love.
I love wafer stuff on the inside of things. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
All right.
It's nice and airy.
Let's do the pairing, and then you can also tell me what you think about this pour as well. I don't.
So wait. So are we
this.
going? Are we going for the pour over first, or are we take? No. I mean, like first, are we going for the pour over?
No, let's just do it normal.
Okay.
All right, that's good. I like that.
I feel like I know what that is.
You think so? All right, I'm going to do a pour over.
That wouldn't happen to be a double oaked product, would it?
It depends on your definition of double oaked.
I mean, we can argue about finishing all day long, but
Perry, that's where it's at. Oh, Perry. That little, like, you get that little explosion of the bourbon in there. Oh.
when we are back together for next week's episode, I also have a flying sips and blind snacks for you.
Blind sips and snacks.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
It's really, really good.
That's freaking good.
It makes it kind of like fruity as well. Got kind of a berry thing going on. You know what I'm saying?
I'll tell you what else it does after I reveal what this was. But I want you to try the pour by itself to see if you can give any guesses. So now you can fly and blind it.
Let me get some water first then.
Always hydrate.
Stay hydrated. It's going to help break up the mucus in your chest as well.
Yes.
You're trying to get rid of. So it is a finished product.
Yes.
And you said it depends on my definition of what a double oaked is.
Well, I mean, it's finished in something, so it was obviously in one thing and then put in the other. So,
but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's like a double oaked product.
I mean,
is this a toasted product?
No.
Okay, I feel like it could have been really good with like a Penelope toasted.
That's pretty funny because I have that over here because I was just gonna have a little bit of it.
I actually might have a little bit as well.
Did you get?
I got
the new one.
I got the one from Jackson's Wine and Spirits.
Oh, I was gonna ask you if you got that.
Yeah, dude, they still got some left. I can't believe we haven't seen each other that much recently to where you haven't had this.
No, because we recorded last week and then we've been working, both of us. So
barrel strength toasted, 116
awesome.
proof. It's really good.
Great.
4 to 5 years old. So soon though, I hope. But yeah, I don't know what this is. I mean, of course, my initial reaction was that this was a finished product, so I'll take that at the very least. But
you want to guess proof?
110-ish?
Ooh, close. 108.4.
Oh, yeah, I'll take that.
So this is Starlight.
Oh, is that the honey?
Finished
the honey
in
barrel?
honey barrels.
Yes, I'm picking up the honey now.
Yeah. So I don't know, like as far as like double oaked, I don't know. I guess these were honey. I don't know what kind of barrels they were. I'm assuming they were just oak barrels with honey in them. But yeah, it's 108.4 proof, and it's Starlight single barrel from Total Wine, finished in honey barrels.
You know what this? What it kind of like altogether turns into is a like Honey Crisp, but with mocha notes
to
it as well, which I think are really, really good.
See, North Lime has this coffee drink that's like called like the Honey Bear or something like that, and it's like a coffee that they put honey in it, and that was like my motivation for this pairing. I was like, let's see if we can get like this kind of like coffee and honey thing mixed together to make some kind of like drink. And but then, like you said, like it actually brings out a little fruit too. Like there's just like this coffee with like this flavoring in it. So Andrew, thank you for that. Like I've never had one of those coffee crisp from Nestle. Those are really good,
dude. That's phenomenal. It's just a completely different animal afterwards. But anyway, do you want to talk about what we've been drinking recently before we get into a small bit of news?
Yeah.
Before this interview that we did as well, or that I did,
or
that we will have, whatever we want to call it. I don't know.
There's an interview Perry did. It'll be in there.
It's coming up.
But Penelope toasted. I did a
dude.
I did a where's that? I did a chicken nugget and barbecue sauce pairing.
Yeah, you did.
And I went through a few things with that. But what ultimately came out on top was this Penelope toasted I have from this one is from Bourbon Finds. I think I might have used just a regular toasted off the shelf. And dude, like there was this like sweet, spicy, like when I put a little bit of the bourbon in the barbecue sauce and then mixed it too. Like we got to do that, like just for fun. Like me and you just need to get like a 20-piece nugget and just go to town with it with the barbecue sauce.
That'd be a really fun live stream to do sometime.
Yeah. But Penelope toasted, like seriously, like I love what Penelope's doing. All the stuff they put out is good. And these toasted ones, whether it's a pick or just off the shelf, like they are some of the best, like solid toasted products out right now, like hands down. Like, oh yeah, I mean it's MGP, boo boo boo, whatever they said on my Instagram. But like, no, like Penelope's doing it right. They have some. Shut up. They have some good barrels, and the toasted ones are great. And they got. I really want to get a bottle of the what is it? The Architect that just came out, the blue label one.
Yeah.
We tried that. Me and you got to try that at Whiskey Weekend. They have that rye that's finished in Dekoji. Is that what it's how it's said?
Tokaji. Right?
Kaji? That's my favorite Naruto character, by the way. But it was amazing. Like it was like they let us try a sample of that. Like they're doing great stuff. Love some Penelope right now. So
Yeah.
I think, So that's what I've been drinking on recently.
Well, this toasted pick that I have as well is so dang good. I'm you know what I would really like to do actually is take some kind of blend between that Starlight honey finished pick and a Penelope toasted and figure out a blend in some capacity, because I bet that would be killer. I bet it would be so good.
I got plenty left. We can make a little blend for it.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. So I was in Louisville this past weekend. Not necessarily for the Derby, but to take people to and from the Derby.
Chauffeur.
And I was a bus driver for that. I killed a bus driver. But anyway, no, I was taking people to and from the Derby, and I successfully avoided drinking a mint julep throughout the
Good
weekend.
job.
Which
Congratulations, you did yourself a favor.
You know what I would rather have is a mint old fashioned.
Yeah.
Which I actually had this morning. And it's because my habits are completely skewed because of the way that we record the podcast right now. I had a coffee old fashioned.
Nice.
Which was really good. I used espresso instead of a coffee liqueur. And it actually turned out really, really good.
Imagine that with the coffee crisp.
Oh,
Do you have another one?
I've got about half of one left.
I couldn't remember how many he gave us.
Well, he gave us each one. And I've eaten half of the one he gave me.
And you've eaten half of the one he gave me.
Yeah. So I guess you got to have the other half of the one he gave me.
Andrew.
It's not hard to ship candy, right?
Right.
Like you can ship candy, can't you? Please. Or I'm sure we can find some coffee crisp somewhere.
Probably. I think you
Down
can order most of that stuff. But it's just so nice getting it for friends.
It is
for
so
free.
nice. Yeah. I'm sure if we went to like World Market, we could get it.
Probably.
You know, right next door to the Total Wine in
It wouldn't remind me
Amber.
as much of Andrew, though, of him handing it to me in person
Fair
in my
enough.
hotel room while we're drinking and recording.
A very good point. But I also got to see our buddy Darren Wright this weekend.
Oh, Darren.
And he brought along a new riff pick that he said I was going to be all about. And sure enough, I was all about it. It was
What proof was it?
114. Dude,
There you
it
go.
was killer. It reminded me a lot of, on the nose at the very least, buttered popcorn. Kind of went a little bit that way as well on the palate, but it had a little bright spot as well that I really liked. But overall, just a spectacular bourbon. And we got something in the mail that we have not yet reviewed, but we will be doing so before long in one capacity or another. But the Larceny Barrel Proof B522,
Okay.
123.8 proof.
Is that one of the higher ones?
It's one of the higher ones, but it
Yeah.
is not the highest. I think in the first year, and I screwed this up when I was talking about, I think last year's B release, I said that was the highest proof one that had come out, and it was like 124 point something. But in the first three releases, in 2019 or 2020, I can't remember exactly what it was.
Gotcha.
They had a higher proof.
I'm ready for them
release.
to like dial them in. Like I feel like
Me
they're
too.
just all over
Me
the
too.
place.
But I will say, I think after having had the A122 and now the B522, we are getting closer and closer to that. So, also one more thing that I've had recently that I think I should at least note, but that we haven't actually reviewed yet. It's the Wise Man Rye. Don't give me that face. You were there when I picked it up.
I know.
I don't want to say too much about it yet, but it's
I gotta review that. I gotta.
it's significantly different, I would say, from the Wise Man bourbon.
Shout out to my buddy Mike Green for he listened to the podcast and he said He spit out his drink when he was listening because we mentioned that the Wiseman won an award, and I think we said, what, in the poop category?
No,
And
you said that.
I said that?
You said in the poop category.
Oh, I'll live that up.
Yeah,
Okay,
you should
I'll
definitely
take
take credit for that. That's not a me joke. That's a you joke.
And so that made me laugh because I was like, I don't even remember I said that, but apparently I did.
You did indeed. Well, I'm going to pour a little bit of this Penelope Toasted as we move into a little bit of news. But where'd it go?
I'll do the same.
Well, there we go. We're working together. America.
Cheers.
Cheers. I'm actually pouring it into the Starlight Honey glass just to see if anything's like kind of picking up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that if we wind up doing that blend, and I know that we're going to, it doesn't need to be like 50-50, because I feel like it's going to, if we did 50-50, it would get a little too honey-y. Like it might need even just a few drops, according
this was
to...
the same glass I had the honey in as well. I don't know how much it picked up.
Do you think anything?
I just smell that toasted, man. You can instantly... I don't know if it's the fire behind us or this, but this is just, I feel like it's like...
It's feeling good. I feel like I'm ready.
I feel
I'm
like
ready
I'm
for
in a
Halloween
holiday right now.
Yeah, it's time for our holiday special. Spooky. Not gonna put that in it. So I want to talk about a couple of things that have either been kind of floating around in the bourbon sphere or have already kind of been confirmed first and foremost. So we're doing a little bit of bourbon rumors, I guess, on top of the news that we normally do. But I don't want to specifically point out people or sources or anything. But let's start with the news that happened recently, and we've talked about it on the podcast already, but that Barton is going to be closing down their public tours to people. And we had a friend who was at 1792, at Barton 1792 over the past week, doing a pick, who said that they confirmed with the folks there that they are completely shutting down the gift shop, and everybody who is a part of their tourism side of things is getting laid off. That seems like a bit much. I mean, am I wrong in feeling that way?
I mean, I feel like there could like just laid off, just straight up like.
Yeah, they're just being let go.
I mean, I don't understand like, and this is the ignorance of it all. I don't understand how a lot of that stuff works, and I'm not going to try to say I have an opinion, but I just feel like with such a big company, and even like having like Sazerac over top of you and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I feel like there's something that
there's
could
something.
Be like,
there's got to be something.
Like, hey, we're going to move you to help with Buffalo Trace tours, or we're going to move you to this gift shop and like help do this gift shop, or it like. I feel like there's something else that they could do. Yeah. I mean, but like I said, I don't know enough about it, but
I don't disagree with you, though.
Yeah.
I think that is a very fair assessment of the way that this situation is being treated by the executives in power, that they're just not treating things or treating people fairly. And I mean, it's not to say that, corporate layoffs and corporate cuts don't happen very often, because they very much do. I mean, it's just a part of, the way that operations go in big business. But I just feel like within the bourbon verse, the bourbon sphere, the multiverse of bourbon,
the multi-burb.
Yeah, the multi-burb. I feel like there is always supposed to be a place for people, and it's weird to see Heaven Hill expanding and adding new jobs, but a company like Sazerac, who owns Buffalo Trace in 1792, is laying people off. I don't disagree with you in that capacity. So, well, we'll see. I wish the best for the people who are being unfortunately laid
I
off.
mean,
But
hopefully,
again,
with the experience they have and like living in Bardstown and around the area, hopefully they can be like, hey,
exactly.
Yeah, so
yeah, and it sucks that, you know, if they truly did love working at this place, which maybe we'll talk about on a Patreon thing sometime, but I have never been under the impression at Barton that people have been in love with the job that they have, but we'll talk about that eventually. But the other little rumor, the other little tidbit that has been passed on to me is that, speaking of Heaven Hill, they are discontinuing the actual decanter line for Old Fitz Bottled and Bond.
Really?
Now, here's the thing about that. I think that it is okay in some regards. And the reason behind it is because they can't source all of the glass that they need for it, or the specific glass shape. And I get that.
Yeah.
There are ways that they could have potentially gotten around it if they needed to go and, like, you know, press their own bottles or what have you. But I think that if Heaven Hill has seen this, and again, pure postulation, but if they have seen this issue and they have seen the fact that they can't put out the product the way that they intend to, or the way that they initially intended to, there are still alternatives for them to put out these bottles. And I mean, I would like to see this go one of two ways. The first one is that we just see this same product on the market, but in a different bottle style, a different label, whatever it needs to be, so that it is still out there. The other one, and I think this is the one that I would prefer more so than this like semi-limited series still being out there, is that I would like to see a return to having just Old Fitz Bottled and Bond available on the shelf, right? That green label, gold foil bottle that was really, really cool. And I only ever got one bottle of, but it was so good that I don't have any more of it and whatnot. But I would just really like to see that return, even if it's, you know, not at the premium. I mean, I would prefer for it to not be at the premium that this current product is. But if the push comes to shove, you know, why would they not try to take some of that stock that's already in reserve and try to make it into you know, something that's available for just about everyone?
Give me a 6 to 8 year Bottled and Bond Old Fitz just on the shelf, or at least like monthly on the shelf that I can get, over attempting to try to get the decanter that's a little higher age. Save that one like big Old Fitz release for like a one-time thing, you know, like kind of like an antique collection deal. Like if you want to put out like a 16-year-old Fitz, okay, do it, put it out there, but give me a younger 6 to 8 year Bottled and Bond Old Fitz that I can get regularly, and I will be happy. I'll be happy with that. Yeah,
for sure. I am totally in line with that thought. Let's talk about a couple of new products coming from Jack Daniel's that it seems like everybody else has gotten to try yet, except for us. So what do we have to, if you know out there what we have to do to get to try these products, please let us know, because I don't know, maybe we're not in with the media folks at Jack Daniel's or what have you, but
we need to be.
We really, really need to be, especially if that means we
all
could
for some Jack Daniel's products. We talk
absolutely.
about them all the time,
constantly. But it's no secret at this point that they have two new super premium products that are on their line now. It's their first extension in 25 years. They've got a bonded, so a Bottled and Bond product, and a triple mash as well. Looking at each individual product, the Jack Daniel's Bonded is their typical recipe of 80% corn, 12% malted barley, and 8% rye. And of course, it's at 100 proof for Bottled and Bond. And then the triple mash is 60% Jack Daniel's Tennessee Rye, 20% Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey, and 20% Jack Daniel's American Malt. I gotta know. I got to know what this is.
What do you think? Are those sample bottles that everybody's getting, or is that the actual?
No,
like,
those are
product
actual bottles that everybody is
just
getting.
a little different. I'm not used to seeing.
No,
that.
yeah. No, they are getting the full bottles. Now, here's the thing. Speaking of full bottles, these are not 750s.
Oh, really?
These are 700 mils. We can postulate and think and go, well, maybe it's because they're trying to save money or you're trying to spread their stock a little bit thinner. But I truly don't know why they are actually going with the slightly smaller bottle size. But the bonded is available for $30 and the triple mash is for $33.
Oh, that's not a bad price though.
Yeah, and they're out right now. So even if we don't. Even if we aren't able to get distillery, samples or bottles or whatever, they're out and about. We should be able to, at the very least, order them. So, yeah. I got one more rumor. One more expectation.
I like rumor.
I kind of do too.
Rumor corner.
Yeah,
rumor corner. Sit back.
And nothing has been, I don't know what you're saying. I'm going to hear it in the edit, but nothing has been set in stone yet. But it looks like we, within the next month or so, should be getting a New Riff 7-year bourbon.
What do you think it's going to be like? I mean, I'm just thinking like, I can't wait to try it.
I don't know. I'm hoping.
Always excited about New Riff putting out a 1 year older product, and Wilderness Trail putting out a 1 year older product. Like I want 7-year New Riff, I want 7-year Wilderness Trail, and I just want it to keep going.
We had a slightly longer car ride together last week, and we were talking about oh look, my fist is just appearing out of nowhere in the video. It's the fist of Concha.
North Star.
Hey. Ooh. Never mind. Doesn't matter. So it's weird things you only get in the video, I guess. We were talking about whether or not Wilderness Trail is going to jump right from the 6-year to the 8-year, or if they're actually going to have a 7-year release as well. I still think that they are going to put out only an 8-year. I don't think that we're going to see anything as meticulous as jumping like 1 year to the next or anything. But what do you think? I mean, in this capacity, I mean, seeing a 7-year New Riff is interesting.
I'm very intrigued by it. I don't know. Like, I want to see a 7-year Wilderness Trail, like, in side by side on to see, because I feel like we've kind of followed each of these companies as they've, got higher age products. But I guess it's one of those things where you just got to leave that decision into the master tasters and distillers to be like, this is ready, or we need to give it another year. So,
yeah.
But then, like, I would love to see just some random, like, even if I don't even get to try it, just some random pick just show up that's like, somebody got a 7-year Wilderness Trail pick. And like, or like a gift shop, like they're releasing like just one. Like, it's not even like, they don't even have to like put it on the shelf as far as like the main stores. It's just like gift shop release only, single barrel 7-year. And I would drop whatever I was doing right there and run and get it at the moment. Like, I would have to.
Well, off the back of that too, and it is, I think, a pretty good indication that we are getting close enough to where these slightly higher aged products are definitely going to become a norm. But we talked about like was it the full release info or just the TTB label on the New Riff Sherry Finished? rye whiskey.
Oh, I think we talked
The
about the
malted rye.
release because they said you could get it in the
Yeah, I
Bourbon
think
Club and stuff like that.
I think we did as well.
Which, since we did a pick, we're in the top priority on
Yeah,
that
we are.
club now.
Yeah, we are.
So
that is still out and about for people who are
in the boat.
considering that. We are going to take a pass this week talking about releases because there's not really anything that is super pressing that we need to touch on. But I will I will talk about I would say 2 TTB labels for this week, and it's kind of this ongoing saga of these Maryland ryes.
Are we still Baltimore's finest or whatever?
Yeah, we still got one. This
Baltimore's finest from MGP.
Yeah, last week we talked about the Sherbrooke unfiltered straight rye whiskey, at 14 years old. And this week we are seeing the Mount Vernon straight rye whiskey, which is also 14 years old.
Not Mount Vernon, Kentucky.
No. It's a 95.5 rye from MGP or Ross and Squibb or whatever. That is being
LDI.
bottled in
Seagram's.
that is being bottled in Baltimore. But I mean, it's cool that it's that old. 108 proof, but okay.
I mean,
Stop saying it's Baltimore whiskey. It's not Baltimore whiskey.
If anybody in Baltimore, though, wants to send me a sample of some 14
Oh, no, I want to try
MGP
it.
rye, let's go.
I want to try that really,
Let's go,
really badly.
please.
That's not something that I want to sleep on for sure. But yeah, so if you're in Baltimore, Maryland, you got like 3 new ryes that are on the horizon.
Nice.
So
I am super incredibly excited that we are getting to sit down with Roman Alexander. Roman's a country artist from just outside of Kansas City, right?
Yeah, Parkville. So
Yeah, man.
probably 15, 20 minutes outside the city.
Yeah. Cool, dude. But you've got a bunch of new music out right now, and you're on tour and everything. You're stopping here in Lexington
First
as well,
time. First
at
time.
Austin City, which is crazy cool.
Yeah.
Crazy cool. But first of all, welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for being here. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself. You've got this awesome new song out too. What's the newest one? It's Over Me?
Over Me,
Yeah,
yeah.
dude. It's such a good song.
Thank you.
too.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But yeah, let everybody know kind of who you are and what you do, man.
Yeah, so I started playing music. I mean, that's not even. I have to. This is a loaded question here. I grew up in Kansas City, right outside. My family is from Kansas City.
Yeah.
My dad's side's Mexican, so they came up in the early 1900s and moved into Kansas City and planted their roots. And my family started there. My mom and dad met when they were 16, 17 years old. So both of them were not musical, like instrument wise or vocally, but they did.
They listened.
The house was always playing music growing up,
Yeah,
and
man.
so my grandparents were big gospel lovers and country music lovers, so I took a liking to that. And it wasn't before long that I started playing around the house acting like I was Elvis, because I love Elvis Presley.
You
And,
reference Elvis a lot in your
I
music
do.
too.
I'm glad you picked up on that, because that's
Yeah.
one of the things I wanted to do, and I'll get to that. It just
Yeah, for sure.
It is something I think a little Easter egg, because he's such a pivotal part of my life. It was the moment when I heard him, I was like, oh, I want to play music.
That's awesome.
And
I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah.
For me, it was because I don't know how much background they gave before you came here, but like I'm also like a singer songwriter and do stuff like that. Not nearly as much as I used to, but like for me, it was like as soon as I started hearing like Dave Matthews and John Mayer and like Santana, even I was like, I want to do this thing.
Yeah.
Like I feel that drive for sure.
it is it's music is something, it is the universal language, but especially country music, I think that there's nothing like the storytelling in country music.
And you are, I find your music to be deeply more authentic than a lot of country music is.
Well, thank you.
Right now.
Yeah.
and it's interesting, and I think it's this conversation that we tend to kind of have, that country music now gets lost in like the bro-ness of it all, and I don't really find that as much with your music. It feels more like, you know, your own experiences, and like you have actually like taken the time to craft songs based on who you are personally and what it is that you have gone through in your life. I mean, does that kind of ring true to your songwriting style?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I was in high school, I took a girl on a date. I was a sophomore in high school. She was a freshman in college at the University of Missouri. So I thought I was really cool, right? Thought I was really cool.
Cooler than I've ever been.
You know, and I just thought I was too cool for school.
Yeah.
Which is why I did not go to college. I went to a concert up there in Columbia, Missouri, which is 2 hours away. I remember having to ask my mom to borrow gas money so I can take this girl. And I'm glad I went, because I walked in there and this guy named Sam Hunt was playing.
Yeah.
And people can say anything they want about Sam, but the one thing you can't take away from that guy and his music is his songwriting.
Yeah,
I love the music. I love production. I love everything about him.
Yeah.
But, you know, some people are very opinionated about it, and I understand it, but he was such a massive moment for country music. And right then and there, when I saw all the girls starting to turn, when I heard Elvis, I knew I wanted to play music. When I saw Sam Hunt play, and Montevallo had just come out, this would be 2013, 2014, I knew, I was like, I'm going to be a performer. I'm going to play music for the rest of my life. And when I saw all the girls freaking out, I was like, I know he's doing something right. And hey, it's why we get into it sometimes, is we do it for the ladies.
It's not entirely untrue.
I still do it for the ladies. So I love country music, but his storytelling, and to answer your question, and the statement was, storytelling in country music is what makes me love it. And I cut outside songs. There's a lot of great songs in Nashville, and the bro country thing, you know, it works for some people, or bro country, whatever that defines. I think like
and I think I use that term a little bit looser, and I think and it gets thrown around very derogatorily.
Well, it's already out
as
there.
well.
It's already out there. Luke Bryan, for instance, was the inventor of the bro country, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think there's different types of bro country. He just happens to be a very authentic form of bro country.
Yeah.
He is really good at knowing what his audience wants, and he gives it to them.
I saw him in 2019 in Louisville. They had a festival that's not come back yet due to COVID and everything else, called Hometown Rising. Mm-hmm. And he was one of the headliners, along with Dwight Yoakam. Like, Dwight Yoakam, who's just a legend, at least in Kentucky, you know, country music scenes. And then there's Luke Bryan right next to him. And you're kind of like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, you know, people do really find him to be extremely authentic and everything. And he's fun.
More
than
anything,
an incredible
performer.
Fun.
He's an entertainer. And that is what I wanted to be. I had to figure out when I moved to Nashville, I'm like, do I want to be a songwriter? Do I want to be a singer-songwriter? Or do I want to be an entertainer?
Yeah.
Or do I want to try to be all three? And I just kind of figured, you know, any business is going to run the best when you focus on one thing and one thing only, and you let that grow. And I think for me, I just want to be an entertainer. And I obviously, I'm a songwriter and I write a lot of my own stuff. But when I can get to the point where I can cut nothing but outside songs, there's so many great songs in Nashville, and I think that's what makes the fabric so great.
Was that the kind of turning point for you, where you figured out where you fit into everything moving to Nashville?
I think, you know, you go from Kansas City, you know, and you're a big fish in a tiny pond. Yeah. And then you get to Nashville and you are the smallest fish in the the largest pond. And there's so many people climbing, and you take 50 steps forward and you get knocked back to 120, and you just have to keep chewing the dirt, and you'll never know when that moment will hit. Yeah. You know, like I had a massive, massive single during COVID that blew up everything for me. And, you know, when the time ends for it, and you know, it fell off the playlist because it was on there for 10 months, you know, people have to get new music. And, I dragged my feet on putting out new music, and it knocked me back a little bit. And then I had to work 20 times harder to get it back.
It is, and taking that break from putting out songs, or really just doing what people consider to be, you know, your thing for a long time. I mean, it is hard to bounce back from. But
Content too is tough.
Yeah.
You know, because TikTok, when COVID hit, it was like the thing. I had no idea how to do it. I still don't know how to do it. I mean, I have a great following on there, but it was.
But are you doing it? You're not doing like TikTok dances or anything?
No,
Yeah.
no. I'm not against it, but I just don't do it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
I mean, but I think that lends itself to inauthenticity.
Right.
You know, and being inauthentic. And I mean, if it's not on brand for you, then why pursue that
Right.
in any capacity? But I got to ask, circling back to Elvis, is the Elvis tattoo line, is that true? Do you actually
Yeah.
have an Elvis tattoo?
Well, yeah. So on my inside arm, I have his autograph. I didn't really
that's
actually
cool.
get his autograph,
Well,
obviously,
yeah,
but
yeah.
he's got one of the most iconic signatures, and I got his signature. My mom's name, my whole family's Elvis fans, but my mom's name's Lisa Marie.
Wow.
And so I have the font from the Lisa Marie airplane, because that's
Yeah.
Elvis's daughter's name.
Yeah.
Have that on my forearm, and then I got How Great Thou Art on my whole arm. So
Dude, that's awesome.
it's an ongoing thing. I think I get carried away a little bit too much with it, but I do love Elvis, and he is the ultimate entertainer.
Talk about how great that art is. Were you raised pretty Christian as well?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
definitely. My mom's side was more spiritual. My dad's side, definitely Christian. And yeah, can't go wrong with Jesus. I'm a big fan.
He's a good dude.
He's a good dude.
He got some pretty good things
That's
going
right.
for him. And
That's right.
everything. How great that art too is one of I think probably my favorite worship songs.
Yeah.
I mean it's
Yep.
up there.
It's my favorite.
It's up there, man.
Yeah.
for sure. So let's talk to about specifically cocktail conversations.
Yeah.
Because that is just, I mean, you know, of course, this is my bourbon podcast. We got to talk about bourbon,
Yeah.
at least a little bit,
Yeah.
you know. So let's start out with talking about the inception of that song, and then I also have to pick your brain on what you're typically drinking, and you know, even what your preferred bourbon of choice might be.
Yeah. Well, don't judge me if it's not a good bourbon.
Dude, there is absolutely no judgment. I
All
mean, there is a whiskey for everybody, as far as I'm concerned.
I think it's pretty good. I mean, it's not cheap. It's Jefferson's Reserve.
Jefferson's is really good,
I
man.
love Jefferson's Ocean and Jefferson's Reserve.
Yeah.
I think I liked it because my grandpa always drank it, and so that made me like, okay, well, I just know it. I'm familiar with it.
That's how so many. I mean, like my dad is a Maker's Mark drinker,
Yeah.
and so like I think that probably was the first bourbon I ever
Yeah.
tried, and then you know, here I am.
I love the palate that I'm starting to grow, because
Yeah.
when you're younger, it's just like wine and beer. It all tastes the same,
Yeah.
right? Cigars taste the same, and then you start developing your palate for it, and the next thing you know, you find yourself, you know, oh, this one's a little salty, this one's more sweet, this
Yeah.
one's smooth, this one's harsh, this one burns, you know.
Yeah,
But going back to cocktail conversations, I did base the song off. I had the title in my phone for a long time because I do love bourbon. I love whiskey.
Yeah.
I like cigars. Anything kind of a little bit more classic and timeless. And so when I wrote the song, I wrote it with two guys that nobody else wanted to write it. Nobody else wanted to put it out or write it in the room. And the second I wrote it, I just knew I had something that was really important to me.
yeah,
And I had some true little statements in there. Elvis tattoo.
yeah.
You know.
You've got a couple of glasses in front of you.
Okay.
Hand me just one of them.
Got it.
I'll give you a little. So this was a pick of Eagle Rare that a friends of mine, excuse me,
Yeah.
did middle of last year. It's just over 10 years old. It's like 10 years, 3
That
months.
smells great.
Yeah.
That smells great.
I mean, it is. We are ringing in noontime.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Right as we're
Always.
with the first pour of the day.
I was very. I was intoxicated last night.
Yeah.
I had a good time.
Take your time with it.
We're playing these college bars, so you know tomorrow's Indianapolis and it's at Tenerife. So I assume it's going to be pretty wild, and then tonight's Austin City Saloon. So you never know what to expect. But I know last night I played there in the fall, and you just know you're in for a treat. So cheers.
Cheers, man.
Oh wow, what's that called again?
Eagle Rare. It's from Buffalo Trace.
Oh, I love Buffalo Trace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had
Oh man, that's great.
I had a couple of friends who they both own, well, one of them doesn't anymore, but separate restaurants or inns. And they've always wanted to do a pick together. And I just kind of brought it up on a podcast one day. And he was like, we have to do that. Like, we have to get that together. And sure enough, within like a month or two after saying that, they had a pick at Buffalo Trace.
Even like the warmth is like starting to like, it's like warming up that's cool.
Yeah. It's just 90
Honestly,
proof too.
I might take that before I go on stage, you know? Like something that's like feels like something I would drink. Cause like
Yeah.
Jack, you're not going to get that nice little warm burn right after. It just burns all the time.
Yeah.
And
I the only Jack product that I really like is their barrel proof.
never had it.
Is
it good?
It'll get you.
Really?
It goes anywhere from like 120 to 140 proof. So it'll knock you out if you're not ready for it.
Well,
But
I haven't had a knockout just yet. I've been trying to hold myself back. Maybe tomorrow night will be the night.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll take that back. Tonight will be the night.
tonight's gonna be the night.
So
Yeah.
can you explain Lexington to me? I've only passed through
sure.
here, but I grew up around horses and stuff. So
Yeah.
where's the horse racing track? Where's that at? And then also there's a place I'm a big ghost fan. I like ghost like
Yeah.
stories and stuff. There's a place called Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Where's it at?
That is in Louisville.
It's in Louisville,
Yeah,
Kentucky.
which is
Okay.
about an hour
Okay.
northwest.
I want to go so bad.
Dude, if you are on the way up to Indy, that is right along the way.
I have to go.
Yeah.
I have to go.
But so the horse track, Keeneland,
yes.
and they're finishing up this meet. They've got their spring and their fall meets just because it gets too hot in the summer and too cold in the winters to run the horses. But it's just on like the very edge of Lexington before you get to, and I kid you not, this is what the name of the town is, even though it's spelled Versailles.
Yeah.
So
Oh, we have one of those in Missouri too.
do you have a Versailles in
it's
Missouri?
Lake of the Ozarks. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't know that. But it's a really, really cool place. And I mean, it's, very much a place for people and an excuse for people to get dressed up and, day drink and everything. But I mean, it is a cultural staple of
It
Central
sure
Kentucky.
is. We had that in Tennessee too, the steeplechase stuff. And
yeah.
where everybody wears the big hats and where everybody wants to be rich for a day.
Yeah. Well, we're just about to hit the Derby too next Saturday.
Where's the Kentucky Derby at?
It's in Louisville.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
it's
right.
at Churchill Downs.
Oh, that's right, Churchill
So,
Downs, and
yeah.
I saw that War Admiral Lane was.
Yes. Yeah.
So that is I recognize that name of the horse. So.
Most of the streets in this neighborhood, and I'm not going to dox myself or anything, but
Sure,
most of
sure.
them are named after either like horse races or particular horses. Like our street, our main drag is named after a particular
Yeah.
a particular run. Again, I don't want to dox myself,
Sure.
but yeah, I mean it's very much ingrained in what we do around here. But
It's a fabric. I like it.
yeah,
I love horses.
And I didn't get to show you before we came in here, but our backyard backs up to a stud farm
Okay.
as well.
Yeah.
So they've got a bunch of, in the spring we see all the foals and everything.
It's crazy.
running
It's a
around.
money market because I've heard about horses selling for $12 million, $20 million.
Yeah.
Like that's nothing.
Well, every time so American Pharaoh is still being used to stud. He's out at a farm in Versailles. Every time that
They have armed guards around him too.
yeah, right. But every time that he studs, it's $250K. Like you're not the amount of money that you make actually running their horse is nothing compared to if they're good and you actually like get to sire them
Yeah.
out. I mean, that's where the money is. And I mean, people will pay for it.
Saudi
too.
Arabia too. I mean, a lot of
Yeah,
like the princes and stuff will come over and buy the horses.
Yeah,
and stuff.
and they have plenty of farms around here too. But I mean, it is very much Kentucky, despite the fact that there are other folks who come in and participate in it as well. But we got a little bit off track from
No,
from cocktail
hey, it is
conversations,
a conversation.
but-
Yeah,
look, we're living the song out.
that's
here.
right. That's right. So cocktail. I mean, we put it out, and it, in comparison to streams, it's nowhere close to Between You and Me, but Cocktail Conversations is the one that the crowd sings back to me every night.
That's really cool.
That's cool to watch.
Yeah.
It's a great song. I like it. I will always stand by it.
That line, excuse me if I quoted it incorrectly, but you ask her, "What are you doing here alone?" Mm-hmm. She goes, "I'm not alone." There was something about that where it's
Said,
just,
"Boy, I ain't here alone."
Yeah. Like there was just something about that line where I was like, "Oh," like that's when I got the song.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Good.
Like,
Well,
not,
hey.
not that like it wasn't that I wasn't into it or that I didn't understand what the message was, but like that line was like, that's what tied it together. Mm-hmm. That was the like the focal point, the argument, as it were, that the song was kind of making, that you are always kind of with somebody. Mm-hmm. And you are never alone if you're sharing conversation and drink together. Yeah. And it really does make friends out of strangers very quickly. Mm-hmm. Very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, and it's got that little thing at the very end where it's like, you got a look in your eye telling me you want me to take you home. Yeah. It's got a little bit of sex in there, too.
It's got everything. Yeah. It seems like. It's got everything. But I think that song is definitely so accessible for people. But yeah, between you and me, like
that's a conversation too.
Yeah, and like the second time that I heard that song through, I was like, I already felt like I had known that song for a long time. Like it just kind of resonated with me, I feel like. And I think that's something that as a songwriter, you're always kind of reaching for, that, you know, you want to create something that's infinitely timeless for people. I mean, do you get, what is the song, I guess, that gets shouted the most at you to play out of your repertoire?
Cocktail.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely Cocktail or Between You and Me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How often do you get Freebird yelled at you?
Never.
Good.
You know, I will say I have never had that. Maybe I take that back. Back when I was like probably 16 or 17 in the bars and stuff like that, I had that. But
And you're how old now?
25.
Okay, so I'm 28. We're not too far off in age and everything. But there was a long time where I could not go like one show without somebody in the back yelling Freebird, and I was like, it's not happening.
Hey, I still like Freebird though.
That's a great song.
It always cracks me up, but yeah, it's a 13-minute song. You know, it's a good song.
We went to go see Chris Stapleton this past weekend, and he actually did a Freebird tease before one of his songs. Yeah. And we were like, there was a second where we were all kind of looking at each other like, is he really about to do Freebird for 15 straight minutes? And, you know, he led into...
He probably would crush it, though.
He absolutely would, man.
He would smash it.
Yeah. Willie Nelson opened for him, too, which was...
That's crazy to even think about.
I know,
right? I bet Chris probably in his head was like, this is too weird. The fact that he's opening for me.
Yeah, they all are apparently... So Sheryl Crow was on the bill as well, and they're apparently all touring together. And so it was Sheryl, Willie, and then Chris. And it was very strange seeing Willie open for Chris Stapleton. But, I mean, the guy's so old.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to interview his granddaughter a couple of years ago. And I asked her, have you ever played Trigger? Like, have you ever sat down and played Willie's guitar? And she goes, oh, yeah, absolutely. It's just a magical moment to sit down with that historical guitar. And then we got done recording, and she's like, you guys want to come smoke weed with us?
Yeah, I have a story about that. So I played I played in Maui at the Songwriter Festival out there, and it was very, very few people. We did a private house party, and I got off the plane, we went straight to the hotel, and then we went straight to this house party that is only like 100 people, and it was a massive mansion, and I was really, really in awe. I'm like, oh my God, this is so crazy. And so it was myself, a girl named Cassie Ashton, and then Maren Morris, Luke Dick, and then Lucas Nelson. So
you all walking in together?
Well, no, we were, and Miranda Lambert was there. We were all kind of like hanging out in this little back bedroom area right before we had to go in there and play. And so
was this when Miranda was still dating Anderson East too?
No. This is when she's with her current guy.
Oh, okay.
So this is only 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And I walked straight out there because I was the first person to play, and I played Cocktail Conversations. And I walk out there, sit down, grab the guitar, put it in my lap, and then I start playing, and I look up, and right in the front row. There's only 100 people here.
Yeah.
Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson, like Woody Harrelson. Right. I know.
What is this magical
shit myself
place?
Almost.
Yeah, no kidding.
And next thing you know, I look up, and there's Willie Nelson and Chris Christopherson sitting right next to each other in the front row, and they both had their legs crossed, and they're looking right at me, just watching me. And I stopped playing. I kept singing, but my hand wouldn't work. I was shaking so hard. And you can see, like, Willie gave me this nod of, like, yeah, it's all right, buddy. You're going to do it. You're good. Because I sounded all right. I couldn't play. My hand was so shaking. And I was in absolute shock. It was really cool.
That's amazing.
And he gave me a standing ovation after, and everybody did. And I thought that was really just an honorary moment.
That's
cool.
incredible.
I felt on top of the world, and the whole festival was great, but that one night, that one moment is what I've always thought about.
The recognition from somebody like Willie, just
well, and his son too. I hung out with his son, and we were drinking, and he's such a cool dude. He goes, "Man, you smoke weed?" No, I don't smoke weed. He's like, "Well, go talk to that girl right over there. She runs the Willie's Reserve." I don't smoke pot.
Yeah,
I'm not against it. I just don't do it.
Yeah.
And she offered all these different kind of strains, ones like lemon flavor, all these different things, way beyond my knowledge. But it seemed interesting. It smelled good.
I don't think I've ever, and I might. I'm gonna leave it. We were on a trip out west, and it's not legal in Kentucky currently. They're working on medical and everything.
I feel like it'd be the last one because it's right here in the Bible Belt.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
But we were passing through Colorado as well, and we stopped for dinner, and so I walked like two blocks back to their dispensary, and they're like, "What do you know what you want or anything?" And I was like, "I'm pretty open to suggestion." And like the first two things that they pulled out were Willie's strains, and I was like, "Yes, that is coming home with me, absolutely." And it was.
It's good stuff.
It's pretty nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a really bad back. Like I really messed with my back. I played rugby growing up, and then I got car crashed, a year ago, and so my back's just not right. It's just I can't hardly sleep. Recently, and I've thought about trying it just because I have done it once, and it did make me completely like pain free.
I have
for a night, and then I woke up in the morning and it hurt. But
I have really, really bad anxiety. And like that's
it gives me anxiety.
Does it?
It does. I think I have an allergic reaction to it though, because it makes me feel sick every time I do it.
That's
like I'm gonna throw up.
That's a perfect excuse not to, not to get on. But I mean, like
gummies give me the spins, and pop like leaf actually makes me like throw up.
Have you tried just CBD?
I have. I don't notice anything.
Yeah,
and maybe I'm not getting. Maybe I should get the stuff with the THC in it. But
yeah, the calming of CBD is what I look for the most with it. And I mean, I can feel a very significant difference just because I'm such an anxious person that once it hits, I'm like, I'm good for the night. But there's always bourbon in the meantime.
I've also learned that like cigars have just been my thing. That's just kind of been my
love
vibes.
Cigars.
I do too, and I sound like I smoked like 4 of them yesterday, but I only smoked one.
That's also because you had a show last night.
I had a show last night. I'm also trying to like rest my voice a little bit.
Yeah.
So I talk at this kind of like mellow right here. But usually I'm way more amped up. I'm like, "What's up, man? How are you?" But before a show,
that's going to be for the show tonight, though.
That's right.
So I am genuinely thinking I probably will come out.
Good, you should, man. Yeah, we'll take good care of you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I hope it's packed, and I'm hearing good things so far. So we'll see. Just like I said, when you're coming up and you're on the rise or on the decline, you never know what to expect. This is my first time in Lexington, so if it's packed, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
And 99% chance that they might not know who I am. And sometimes you go to a place and they know every words to your songs, and it's just the weirdest thing. So hopefully that's one of those places, and if not, then we'll make them a fan.
That's what happens, man.
That's right.
Dude, I appreciate you so much.
Thanks for having me on.
Me. Yeah,
man.
This has been a lot of fun. You guys go check out Roman's music. You're just at Roman Alexander on most social media.
Yeah, Roman Alexander Music on Instagram. It's my most active platform. And then, Roman Alexander Official on TikTok.
Yeah.
Whatever the kids are using these days.
It's weird. It's weird plugging TikTok.
Well, it's crazy. I I'm 25, but I feel so much older than I am because I've had to grow up so much, doing what I do. And, last night I was in a college town, and tonight I am, and you meet these kids, and it's like, we're almost the same age.
Yeah.
Not that they're immature. It's just like, I feel like I should be kind of where they are.
I totally.
But
get
I had
that.
to grow up so much quicker, and I kind of feel bad for myself because it's like I wish I would have had that time to enjoy it. But I know when I get older, I will be thankful for that.
Yeah,
So,
I totally get it, man.
Yeah.
Totally get it. Guys, go check out Roman's music. Thank you again for sitting down
man,
with me,
thanks
dude.
so much.
It's been
Appreciate
a lot
it.
of fun.
Eric, it's time for a review. We got a review. What's this review that we're reviewing? It's finally the Four Roses limited edition 2021 bottle.
Yes.
I don't know what it is. I have not been able to get samples of the Four Roses LEs over the past couple of years, despite the fact that other podcasts and media outlets have done so. But that's fine. Four Roses. I just, I just need to know what's up.
We got a whole fucking bottle right
We got a whole
here,
freaking
okay?
bottle. We got a whole freaking bottle. But I just want to
Share.
know, like, what do I need to do it earlier? Do I need to, automatically be on the list, or what's the deal here? But
Is
anyway,
there a
Eric,
Mellow Moments media club?
the media package for
Mellow
Moments Club.
Media.
Anyway, Eric, you have the bottle. You poured me a little bit when you ran by the house earlier. But tell me about the stats on this Four Roses LE.
This is the small batch 2021 release. It's 57.1%. And
104.2 proof.
yes, it has tasting notes on the back. I don't know.
Skip them. Skip the tasting
I'm not
notes.
looking at them. This is bottle 7170 of 14,880.
They had 14,000 bottles, and they couldn't send us a 200 ml sample.
They do say sediment from the barrel may be present in this non-chill
care.
filtered bourbon,
It is so dark.
but I don't have the exact recipe numbers or what they put in it.
Well, let's look it up then.
It is a good color though. Like I can't tell through because the fire in the background right now is just going through it. But dude, it smells so good.
Oh man, there are some old whiskeys that go into this. Okay, a 16-year-old OBSV, a 14-year-old OBSQ, a 12-year-old OESK, and a 16-year-old OESV.
Damn.
So mostly like 16-year-old whiskey, I guess, but at the very least, like a 12-year-old product going into this. I have not had this in a while, but what do you think about it compared to the 20-year-old single barrel that we had towards the end of last year?
I think you can definitely tell one is a single barrel and one is a blended product, if that makes sense. Like, when you smell like a single barrel, you get a little bit more heat on the nose.
Yeah.
It kind of comes right at you. You're like, that's a single barrel. There's nothing else there. This is like this is like a buffet. Somebody just put out a buffet of bourbon and you're just smelling it all at once.
Dude, this smells like it needs to go with a cigar.
I
mean,
know.
straight up, this needs a cigar with it.
It smells so good. It smells so good.
I feel like I'm in Jake's Cigar Bar here in, I guess it's just on the outside of Lexington in Nicholasville. But it smells very tobacco-y.
It's yeah, I don't even smoke cigars and it reminds me of a cigar. It's like cigar and Reese cup. And I feel like I got on that 20 on the
It's a little oddly enough, it's a little corny, sorry.
No, you're fine. I smell a Reese cup, but it's like when you
I see
open a
that.
Reese cup.
Yeah,
it's not even like when you bite into one and you smell peanut butter and chocolate. It's like the wrapper.
Yeah.
It's kind of has that fume of like
it's
peanut butter
waxy.
and chocolate. Yeah. But that tobacco, no, man. That's a
I dig it, dude. It's a really, really good nose.
I mean, that's the little Debbie of cigars right there. Like, I don't even know. What that is. That's like a freaking cigar cupcake.
Boy, it is dry. It is dry and oaky.
Oh, there's a lot of oak on that.
Some
like
very dark fruits. It's like dark fruits that were covered in dark chocolate.
I was going to say, it's like oaky. It's like dark chocolate peanuts.
Yeah.
Like peanuts dipped in dark chocolate, but like there's not a big finish on it.
No, it evaporates pretty quickly, and it just kind of leaves behind the alcohol, the ethanol of it. I think the finish is easily the weakest part of this, though.
Oh man, if this had a bigger finish on it, it would be spectacular. I'm even getting like some snickerdoodle on like kind of around the mid palate. It's like it starts out kind of peanutty, dark chocolate, like you said, but then there's like this kind of snickerdoodle cookie, like you just open the oven, you're tasting that smell in your mouth, if that makes sense.
I like it a lot. I think it's as far as like what it should be based on the components. I think it's punching a little bit above its weight class as well. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like I would be more inclined to think it's so dry and it's so oaky. I would be more inclined to think that this is like a 20-year-old or above product.
This is like a 23-year-old Four Roses. Like if you've had a 22, 23-year-old product.
Yeah. And it's not bad. It's just the oakiness of it is a lot. It's a lot. I mean, if you do not like oak, this is not going to be for you at all.
This is definitely something that if you were setting up a tasting for somebody and you were kind of going through like different waves of like bourbon and stuff, and you're like, do you want to know what oak tastes like?
Yeah.
Like, let me pour a little bit of this for you.
This is oak. I mean,
look, I mean, like, I wish you could see, like, you can kind of see the legs just like dripping down on that right there. Like, oh my goodness, it's so viscous. That's pretty special. I won't lie.
I think that, dude, I like even as I'm starting to get into it more, I'm starting to feel like it's kind of prime ribby.
Dude, it's like a barbecue sauce.
Yeah, I think that it could.
There is like a sweet, like kind of like I've had a barbecue. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
it almost like when that barbecue sauce on some ribs kind of caramelizes a little bit.
Yeah,
you kind of get that
sweet
savory note too. Oh,
I think this is a like almost the perfect example of what it would be like to pair a steak with a bourbon. And I think that this is the prime ideal whiskey to throw into that. That, you know, and a lot of people go for, you know, a single malt or a scotch or something that's got a little bit more heft to it or feels a little bit more manly in some aspects. But I think that this in and of itself is like it could easily be the thing that you have with like a really good cut of beef. I mean, like I'm even thinking about the Wagyu that you cooked for us.
I was getting ready to say you get something that has a lot of like marbling and like that fat that runs through it.
Yep.
Like that fat, like when you pair steaks and whiskey, like I've said this before when I was doing the steak and stave, like if you want to get like a lean piece of meat, you want to get something that's almost a bourbon or a whiskey that's almost like adding like a rub to it. You want something spicy, hot. You want some, like almost on borderline and rye. But you get like a piece of Wagyu or a really good New York strip that's got a good marbling. That fat in the middle of that meat is going to like absorb a lot of things, and like you can take sweet and you can take dark chocolate and you can take the oak, and it will just mingle and mix with all that. And this, like you said, like we've went through different phases of just tasting this, and like that's the like this would be perfect with a Wagyu.
Yeah. I really like this on its own, but I think that it's going to shine once you actually put it up with something else. That being said, we do have a review system of nose, palate, finish, and price on the show. Each category is out of 5, and each category adds up to a total score out of 20, which you can multiply by 5 and see what we think about it out of 100. So... math is fun. Eric, nose, price, the nose, that one. What do you think about it?
Nose 4. I think this is.
Yeah,
it's almost a perfect nose. Like,
I'm giving it a 4.5, dude.
Yeah, like it's like you said. I don't smoke cigars, but hanging out with people who, while they're smoking them and talking to them, I love the smell, and like this is like Little Debbie cigar on the nose, like whatever that is.
I love this. It's so bold and so rich on the nose, and I think that it is a character trait that you don't normally get in a lot of bourbons, and I think that you kind of hit the nail on the head earlier when you said that this is special. It is very, very special. So I'm going to go 4.5 on the nose. Palate, it goes a little bitter with that oakiness for me. Overall, I like the potential behind it, if that makes sense. But I think that it probably is served better in conjunction with something else. I'm going to give it a 3.5, which I feel like is being a little bit more critical of it than somebody needs to be.
I gave it a 4, kind of the same. Like, I like it. And like you said, I love the potential because I'm thinking, like, what can I pair with this? Like, this would be phenomenal. But there's this, I kind of like the bitterness because it's like a dark chocolate bitter. And it makes me want to have just a little bit more because it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
no, absolutely.
I'm going just a little bit. I'm going to 4 just because I like that little bit of weird bitterness that it has. And like you said, the potential of the pairing aspect.
Well, we so far have the same score. So I think the finish and the price are going to be where we kind of differ. Remind me again, just so I can think about it, and so the listener as well has a good idea of where we're coming from. The price on this is what, like 110, right?
Well, I won. This was I won it. I paid for it.
You won the chance to buy it. Exactly.
This was in a Total Wine lottery, and I paid $180 for this.
What's MSRP
I don't know.
though? Let me look real quick.
You look at that. Yeah, I paid $180. This was my Total Wine price was $180.
150 is the MSRP.
Okay.
So I was a little bit off, but not.
I feel like in the past it's been like that.
Yeah. You definitely. I think that is easily an acceptable amount of money to pay for this.
This is a pour that if I pour it and drink it, it tastes the price range. Like I feel like this is like I said, it's special.
Absolutely.
I mean, I would probably pay a little bit more for it, actually. So,
do you think though that there's anything similarly priced that could, that could compete with this? And like I'm thinking about the Heaven Hill 17-year, the Heritage Collection or whatever it was. That was what
going crazy. That thing is going for like what $1,400 on secondary right now.
Let me.
What was it? $250?
I don't remember.
People are loving it though.
MSRP $275.
$275. So
but as far as like comparing the two of them, I think that if you are paying, but see, even still, that's like $100 more to get the 17 year. I think the 17 year is probably a better product overall. Am I crazy for thinking that?
No, that 17-year was in its own league.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
So where do we kind of place this? I mean, is this within the 12-year-old WLW and George T. Stagg releases?
This is definitely on BTAC level.
Yeah,
I think.
But okay, let's back up a little bit. The finish, I think, is probably the most lackluster part of this.
I wish it had a better finish. Yes,
I do too. I think it goes a little bit astringent and a little bit bitter, and I think, I don't know, it's still kind of presenting like some cedar and oaky notes, and there's a little bit of like maple syrup, but it's overwhelmingly like just bitter on the finish, which I hate. I want it to be so much more.
I don't even know if it, to me, it's not like I like the bitter, but like it's just short. Like I feel like this should be like lasting.
Yeah.
I gave it a 3.
I was battling with it as well, but I think that I'm going to give it a 3 too.
Okay.
So I think we have the same score
11
right now.
Right
yeah,
now?
we definitely have an 11. But at the MSRP of 150, I mean, but here's the thing. The Four Roses LE products can be so hit and miss.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like they have not had big time winners over the past few years, but excuse me. They have had products that have been acceptable at the very least. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At 150,
I still think where Four Roses shines is all those single barrels.
Yeah, and I do think that the small batch select is their best core product.
Yeah,
I really, really do. I think that bottle is phenomenal across the board. I want the small batch LEs to be better. If we're talking about just kind of across the board, how they have been, one way or another, I'm going to give it a 3.5. Did you also give it a 3.5?
I already added it up, because I was like, it's a great price. Like I drink this, and I'm not.
There's just other things I want.
I'm not mad that I paid that much for it.
Yeah.
I think if this was about a 120, like it would probably be a lot higher for me.
I agree.
But yeah, like it's great. It's special, especially on the nose. Like you want to give somebody something to taste some oak. This is where it's at. If that finish was a little bit longer and made me like that, if the finish was special, like the nose was, it would be almost 4s and 5s across the board. Yeah. If that makes sense.
For sure. So we both had 14.5 out of 20.
Yes.
Way to go, us, I guess. But yeah, I think if you see this, you should definitely grab it. Let's do a pretty quick tips and bits before we wrap up the show. I'm sorry that we have to kind of rush through a little bit of this, but parental duties are calling the both of us.
True. Yes.
I would say. What is a thing that you want to recommend to people this week that is not Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness?
Yes, that's coming. That's a whole different subject.
Yeah, we're gonna do that separately.
I'm all like, it's been a lot of anime for me lately. There is just knocked my mic over. There's a new anime movie on Netflix called Bubble. Beautiful art, amazing soundtrack, very emo storyline. Basically, Tokyo's underwater, and these kids are parkouring around, and there's this like natural disaster happening. That's all you have to say.
Jeez.
Great movie. Bubble on Netflix.
Kind of sounds like Akira.
Kinda. It's like Akira, but like a love story, and there's parkour.
Oh, okay.
the final season of Attack on Titan has ended, but there's also a third part of the final season that we have to wait for. So we are now waiting for the third part.
So
of
it's
the
not
final
over.
No. We're waiting for the third part of the final season.
It's so obnoxious.
So anyway, One Piece they just had episode 1015, and Perry, let me tell you, like, it's such a consistent show. I've watched every episode, and they just had one of the most amazing episodes of the entire run, and it was in episode 1015. So One Piece, love it. And then there's a newish anime out on Crunchyroll called Spy Family that I highly recommend.
It sounds familiar at the very least.
There's only like 4 episodes out right now. Basically, a James Bond type, the best spy you've seen, has to save this nation. In order to do that, he has to pretend he has a family, so he adopts a little kid who then has also like some special powers, and then he has to find a mom to pretend that they're a whole family, and he ends up finding this girl that he likes, but she turns out to be an assassin, but none of them know each other's secret. So the whole time you're watching this pretty much super spy assassin family act like a family, and they have no idea that any of them have these powers of their own.
Awesome.
It's so good. It's so good. Spy Family on Crunchyroll, and that is my anime recommendations.
all of your tips and or bits.
Yes.
I am going to go the route of YouTube this week. I would say probably mutually favorite YouTube / podcast creator, Mr. Sunday Movies, has been doing some incredible work recently. They are in the middle of doing it's a 6-week series on the Star Wars prequels.
Oh man,
I have not watched today's episode yet, but it's they're doing one week on for prequel video games, 1 week on for the actual prequel movie, and then kind of alternating throughout. And this week they are doing the episode 3 Revenge of the Sith video games.
I just listened to Attack of the Clones on while I was working out. So
their attack, it's weird hearing somebody say that they have come around to Attack of the Clones, because I still think, and I mean, I hate Solo. I think Solo might be the worst Star Wars product
it is in
out
my
there.
opinion. It is in my opinion.
But like it's weird hearing somebody say that they've come around to Attack of the Clones, which is what James has done.
I would watch Attack of the Clones over Solo.
Yeah. So watch all of the stuff that Mr. Sunday is doing right now. There's a channel called SNES Drunk, that is just kind of doing reviews for vintage video games. Not necessarily like they are out right now, but they do a really good job of, trying to connect people to more vintage video games that they could play on the SNES or the Atari 5000 or whatever it is. I don't remember for sure. I'm also losing my voice. Yeah, I'm also losing my voice very quickly. But the one that I just discovered because, they don't have almost 8 million subscribers or anything. But Video Game Dunkey, Dunkey, they are so funny. Just incredible video game reviews. And to the point where you're not really sure whether or not they feel strongly about a game one way or another. After the announcement that Chris Pratt was going to be playing Mario in the Super Mario movie happened, they went and prank called people to try to get their opinion on that casting, as well as some completely not true casting for the Mario movie. which is it's so good. It's called America Recast the Super Mario movie. It's glorious. It's so good. But go check all that out. I don't want to do this too hard, but support women. I'm just gonna very lightly touch on that, but women deserve support and respect and their ability to be their own person. So
Women are awesome.
women are amazing. We wouldn't be here without a lot of them. And I know that is an argument to be made against a particular issue that is about out and about, I would say right now.
Everybody knows what's going on.
But here's the thing. We should not be telling people what to do based on the things that we think or believe. That's not fair. That's not how we should exist, and that's not the way that particular religious figureheads would look at us today and say we need to continue doing this, or that we are doing something particularly right or wrong. So that's as far as I'm going to go with it right now. I mean, if you want to ask me about it privately, I'll talk to you about it more. But that's enough. It's been a really, really tough week for women in this country, and we should respect the heck out of them. And that's it. That's all I'm going to say. I'm done. I think that's it for this week's episode of This Is My Bourbon Podcast. Eric, take us home. Let's pick up some of these little leaves. Do you see these leaves that have landed on our table too? We should pick them up and just kind of shut.
It's like decoration.
Yeah, it's nice. I want to touch this little pumpkin that's above me too. It says Zoom on it. Oh, am I going to touch? Oh no, my finger went all the way. Anyway, tell these people where they can find us. What are the things they can do? Just blood spurting. Anyway,
if you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast. For as little as $1 a month, you can support the show, and at $5, you get all the uncut shit. We had Pours from the Floor. You can go back and listen to Sample Your Irresistible episodes. You get uncut. You get uncut episodes of the full show and all that. It's just fun. You got early access to the meetup, hotel links, and barrel picks, and all that stuff. So This Is My Bourbon Podcast on Patreon. If you want to send us an email or a question, thisismybourbonshop@gmail.com. You can send us an email asking us to review something. You want to send a sample to us, a pairing, anything like that, send us an email. If you want to get some merch, it's bourbonshop.threadless.com. There's also some Whiskey Mutant merch left at whiskeymutant.shopify.com. If you want to leave us a voicemail, it's the Barrel Ring segment. It's 859-428-8253.
Also, we almost had a Barrel Rings this week. Almost, but it was a wrong number.
So. Oh. I would have called them back. Oh. And on all social media, it's at My Bourbon Pod. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We got a Facebook group you can join. This is My Bourbon Podcast Facebook group. And then we still have, like Perry said at the top of the show, we still have tickets to the live show available. Sorry, all the all-in tickets are sold out. But like I said, $25 live show. You got...
sorry, you have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service.
I was going to try to call them back for Barrel Rings, but
No.
It didn't work. So.
Yeah. So... But yeah, you want to
come hang
out? You want to come hang out at the live show? Tickets are still available. You get samples. You get free drinks. We got some food. Hanging out with all our friends, and then just tell people about us. Do you have a friend? Do you have a neighbor right now that you're just walking around?
I have a neighbor.
I have a neighbor. I've told them about this. They listen.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Right
kind
there.
of weird.
No. There. Not the fire. My neighbor is not in the fire. But yeah, just tell us
Anyway.
tell people about us. That's all you got to do. And give us a review on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever. A good rating, good review.
Yeah, please.
We'll read them out on here if you want. If you don't want it, we're still going to read them. So sorry, suck it. But anyway, I think that's it. Is that it?
That is it. That's all.
All
Thank you so much as well to Roman Alexander for being on this week's episode. It was a really fun little interview that we got to do together, despite the fact that he was a little hungover. So
Hey,
it's okay.
That's how it goes sometimes.
It's all good. That's how it goes. Exactly. That's it. Next week, we are going to be chatting from the guys with E.J. Curley and Company.
Yes, I was there for that one.
Just breaking the fourth wall. Anyway, that's it.
I will
guys.
be there for that one.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you guys real soon. Until then, I'm Perry.
I'm Eric.
And this is my Bourbon Podcast.
It is.